Good morning, my friends. I have a really special book to share with you today. It's called All My Stripes, A Story with Children with Autism. And it was actually written by two teachers, a reading specialist and a classroom teacher named Rudolph and Danielle Royer, whose names are right here on the front cover. The illustrator is Jennifer Zavoyne as well. So what is autism? Do you know anything about autism? Here's the title page. All My Stripes, A Story for Children with Autism by Rudolph and Danielle Royer, again illustrated by Jennifer Zavoyne, and the publisher is Imagination Press in Washington, D.C. So 1 in 68 children is actually identified with the autism spectrum disorder. That means almost everyone knows someone who is autistic. Children with autism can sometimes feel different than their peers in class who don't always understand what's going on. So All My Stripes, this book that I'm going to read, is the story of Zane, who's a young zebra that has autism, and he is afraid that sometimes what's different about him makes him stand out to other children. So with the guidance of his mom, Zane learns that autism is just one thing about him that makes him special. It's an important story because it teaches us that sometimes all we have to do is look in the mirror to remember that each of us has special and unique gifts to give to the world. So this is All My Stripes, a story for children with autism. Zane ran home as fast as he could. "Nobody gets me, Mama!" Mama hugged Zane. He began to tell her about his bad day. It was a hard day for Zane. This morning in art class, the teacher started a hoof painting project. I didn't want to get paint on my hoofs, so the teacher gave me a paintbrush. Look, there's Zane with his paintbrush right there. All of the other zebras noticed, and they were making fun of me because they didn't understand why I wouldn't use my hooves. He didn't want to paint, like finger paint, hoof paint for a zebra. Mama said, "I bet that made you feel different than the group." Zane replied, "It did, but the paint feels just too weird to touch." And then during math class, the fire alarm blared loudly while the children in my class were getting in line quietly and I was under the desk screaming and covering my ears. The class left without me, and I was scared until the firefighters found me. So there's Zane reacting to the fire alarm. Sometimes when you have an autism spectrum disorder, different sensations can feel kind of weird, like maybe you don't want to touch paint, or maybe loud noises you react differently to them. And so helping people understand that sometimes people react differently to different things. When the class came back from lunch, everyone was putting their lunch boxes in their cubbies. Some of my classmates were talking about a video game I play all the time, but I didn't really know how to start talking to them. Sometimes knowing how to communicate can be hard too. I started talking about all the things I knew about the game, but since I was staring at the floor, nobody knew I was talking to them. When the other kids walked away, I started talking louder. I wanted them to hear me, but everybody was getting ready for science class. So sometimes it's hard to communicate. We sat down for science and we were learning about the planets. Our teacher gave us each a planet to draw, but I wanted to create my own. When it came to time to present, I felt different from the rest of the class again, but my teacher loved my planet and said, "Hey, whatever floats your boat." But I spent the rest of the afternoon looking for a boat in the classroom. Sometimes when we hear different phrases like "what floats your boat," we look at that from a literal perspective and we try to find the boat. It's just a phrase meaning like whatever makes you happy. Zane was crying. "How come all anyone sees is my autism stripe?" Mama carried Zane over to the mirror. "When I look at you, I see many different stripes. If one of them were missing, you wouldn't be the same." "I see your pilot stripe. When we get lost in the city, you always remember the way home." Look at Zane. He's leading his mama home. Zane has a very, very, very defined sense of direction. "Your caring stripe makes you act kindly toward others. When your classmates think it's funny to bully other kids, you come to the rescue." There's Zane, stopping that bullying from going on. So he has a caring stripe, making sure that kids are cared for. "Your honesty stripe always lets me know to trust your word. When other parents have to worry that their kids aren't telling the truth, I know you always are." So Zane is deeply truthful. That's a great stripe to have, the honesty stripe. "My favorite stripe is your curiosity stripe. When all the other kids are falling asleep in class, you always want to know more. I love when you come home and tell me everything you've learned. Sometimes you ask me questions and I don't even know the answers." So many times kids with autism spectrum disorders have really unique stripes like piloting or courage or curiosity. Mama pointed out the rest of Zane's amazing stripes. The more stripes she explained, the better Zane began to feel about himself. By the time she was finished, Zane loved himself again. We all bring a lot to the table, and it's okay that we're different than each other. Zane ran outside, feeling the warmth of the sun. Finally, he felt proud of all of his stripes. He said, "There's more to me than just my autism stripe. It's just part of me. The other parts make the whole me. I love each stripe because without them, I wouldn't be me." And that's true about you too. It's everything about you that makes up who you are. And you have a lot of stripes. So some things that they talked about here is processing challenges when paint is too weird to touch, or sometimes it's hard to communicate. But you should make it your job to make sure that everybody feels included and connected in your class. And don't judge first. Find out. Ask questions. Sometimes we have a son that has cerebral palsy, and a lot of people don't talk to him. It's not because they don't like him, but they don't know what to say, and so they say nothing. And that's not okay. It's better to just say hi. Be polite. Be kind. I hope it's a great day for you. Thanks for watching these videos. Have a good day.